Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene set in Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire Requiem, Requiem for London. Tonight it is another dreary, cloudy evening in the inner city of London. Julian, your sire has called upon you once more. She has given to you via an intermediary who goes by the name of Rachel Brassard. File detailing your next target. Funnily enough, the target you were meant to be given, that is listed within this file, has been publicly declared as dead. They're a kindred of the Ordo, and their name was Halmuth of the Nosferatu. The cause of their death is still being investigated, but it is currently believed to have been a sanctified hit. And so, you have skipped forward slightly. Perhaps you are lucky. Halmuth certainly was not. No, you are heading after a new individual. Another Ordigical. File reads their name is Ganesh Bhate. Photo depicts him as a man of middle age and Indian descent. A venture of fairly young age, with swept back hair and a handlebar mustache. A member of the Order of the Dying Light. A researcher. A scientist. And a cultist.
Documents want me simply to report on him, or do they want him captured?
Your sire wants him brought to her. She has... The file notes that the subject has been contacted prior for to come in willingly as a matter of their own security and safety. They have declined. You are being sent to convince them further. It is preferable that they are not harmed, though not mandated.
I was to say, she wanted me to talk to. She should have asked somebody else. But I will try.
They are not to be tortured, though staking is permissible. Notes listed as to his capabilities in a confrontation is medium. They are not physically imposing or threatening, but they possess significant power over the mind. And have utilized this to gather significant influence within financial and medical circles.
Okay. Julian kind of nods as he goes through the dossier. He does his best not to slightly grind his teeth. Yeah, again, one of those things of can't beat this guy up totally senselessly. It's like part of his mind's like, she knows what I'm good at, yet she keeps telling me to do these missions where I have to be a bit more subtle. It is what it is. Oh. Excuse me. You will begin stalking through the streets to get to the last known location of this particular query.
Okay. Here's the list of known hangouts. Across Lambeth, Southwark, and Westminster. He has sometimes crossed over into the City of London, which is noteworthy. That would imply he has some business there, as Kindred are expressly forbidden from going there, although it is noted that he has not gone there recently. No, the most locations that he is most well known for populating outside of Iraq, the St. Thomas Hospital and the Florence and Nightingale Museum, which he claims is his personal domain and feeding ground.
They haven't seen him in his personal domain. Julian typically, he's not there anymore, but he's also not aware of the reports they have. They've just been sent messages to him. They have not been constantly trying to get in contact with him. Correct. So it's not like we did. It's not like we sent out a previous messenger to his last living location and nobody responded, or that person is me. So I'm figuring out if he's still there. So Julian will do at this point, like just Occam's razor it somewhat. It's like, okay, let's go to his official domain and see if he's there, and see how people respond to his presence if they find him.
The Florence Nightingale Museum. Most museums close at around 5:30. This one remains open well into the night, but still closes before midnight. Around 9:30 p.m. The museum is aptly named. It explores the history of Florence Nightingale and the impact she had upon British nursing and medical practices throughout the era and the legacy she left behind. You are able to quite easily pay your way in, although you are careful to conceal yourself as you are
Still hunted.
Quite so. And so you pay in cash, and you always keep your face not fully concealed, as that would indicate malicious intent all on its own, but
Unusual sunglasses at night, high collared jackets or shirts.
the flat cap on, pulled a little bit over your face a bit more than it would need it to. Fairly thick clothing to mask your
The boom.
size and body type. It's a bit difficult to not appear suspicious in such attire, but it's better than the alternative. But you begin exploring the museum. The museum itself, it is clear that there's something not quite right about this place. You can sense that you're in the feeding ground of another kindred. You can sense the connection it has to that kindred.
Would it be similar to is it more or less just the general, when you're in the den of another predator, or is it like the animal is in effect, like this is his territory, and he's giving off a feeling that unless he wants you here, don't be here.
We're very much within the den of another predator here.
Yeah.
You look around this place, it's not particularly efficient feeding ground. If the hospital were taken as well, then maybe something could be made of it, but this place could barely sustain one kindred on its own. There's not a lot of people here this time of night. They're here close to closing.
And this place must, as Julian's kind of walking around, he's thinking in his mind, like this place must hold some significance to the person, or they can survive on little. One of the two, maybe both. As he goes through the halls.
Wouldn't be hard to survive on the janitors, to be fair.
And since I am in a den of another predator, would it be okay to me to do a composure resolve check that kind of sniff out blood or vitae that might be left somewhere?
It would be a wits plus composure check plus your blood potency to scent out any vitae in the room or in the museum.
That's 5. The blood potency is 6. And plus 9. 20, 7. Oh no. I do get a dramatic success, but I am also now obsessed because of my acute senses.
Okay. Five successes. Okay. Blood has definitely been shed here in the past, although you would be hard-pressed to tell that now. There is a cabinet, one of the displays, It shows medical tools from the 19th century. In a fairly small room, the cabinets just above it, display cabinets just above it, are filled with old Victorian books. Nightingale's Notes on Nursing. Enough to fill an entire bookshelf. But you can smell the blood on the cabinet and on the glass casing. But that is not actually what draws your attention. Is you can, with your exceptional success, you don't just smell the blood that was spilt from whatever confrontation this may have come from. You catch the scent of Ganesh himself. You can smell his blood is definitely a kindred, and you get no other scent, so it must be him. You begin walking over. It takes you to a prohibited area, staff area.
Good. His eyes will kind of dart around, meaning looking sure there's no cameras directly looking over this prohibited area.
Security here is minimal, but present. There is the odd guard that walks through a room, make sure everything's fine. The museum isn't particularly large. It is more of a larger extension. It is more of an extension of a hospital itself in many ways. In fact, the whole the museum is attached to a medical center and some consulting rooms, which make up the rest of the domain.
And
the entire area is referred to as Gassio House.
And with that, Julian would proceed forward, as he almost feels compelled to do so.
Would you just like to make me a wits plus stealth check? Trying to head into a staff area, and it's likely to raise some eyebrows. You're very clearly not staff, and you need to get in unnoticed.
Since this is in light of my obsession, do I take advantage of the roll 9 against?
Yes, you have an obsession. So let me double check how that works.
Yep. Page 305.
Obsession. Yes, you do gain a 9 again quality to pursuing your obsession. You can't seem to get Ganesh out of your mind. You must find him.
Well, I didn't get any 9s, but I did get 3 8s.
Okay. So you managed to make it for a staff room door. Takes down a short corridor. There's a break room area. A couple of offices. We're on the upper level of the museum. But slightly further down the corridor opens up into several office areas. These doors, however, are in fact locked. They have one of those mechanical pass locks.
Hmm.
So you need to put in a specific code.
I do have larceny, but I think that's more prying the door open, hopefully not going off any
You
alarm.
could use larceny to try and unscrew the how to put it, the covering off the lock, and then try and open it that way. So I'm going to see if I can get you an image for it.
I don't necessarily want to bash down the door. I don't need anybody to know that there's forceful
It's
entry.
second. I'll just get it out for you so you have an idea of what it looks like. So it looks like one of these.
Okay.
So in theory, you could get one of these open. Oh god. In theory, you could get one of those open. You don't have any tools to assist you, to my knowledge. So it would be a -3 dice penalty.
That would be a chance die unless I use up my willpower.
It would be Dex plus larceny, for you could spend blood to.
Oh, I do actually have a lockpicking set, rank 2. Actually.
Huh. Well, did you bring that with you?
Oh, that's a good point. I probably did it because I wasn't thinking I was going to
I'll be fair to you and say you did. It's something that you depends on how large it is, but it's something you could probably carry on your person without arousing suspicion. Like, you're wearing fairly thick clothing to hide your identity anyway, so.
Yeah, because I do have a lockpicking set, rank 2, and I do have a crowbar, but I don't think I was going to bring a crowbar to a museum today.
Lockpicking set isn't. Actually, no, lockpicking kit has tools for things outside of just mundane locks, so it will apply here. So that'll offset some of the dice penalty and give you +2 dice.
Alrighty. So my dex is 3, my larceny is 1. That's 4 plus the 2, which is 6, and it is -3 or -2.
Okay.
No, what was the penalty again?
So -3 dice, you get +2 dice from the lock picking kit.
3 dice. Unless I spend blood, which I am at 4 blood, so I don't necessarily want to do that. But I am still in pursuit of my obsession, so hopefully I'll maybe roll for 9. I did.
Okay,
So I roll one.
you get a few successes, takes you a minute or 2. It's on the door.
2 successes.
You're fast enough about it that no one ends up walking in, no janitor, no security staff. The receptionist is, well, all the way at the entrance. So I'm not picklocking the door. And you open to, well, the man in the photo that you saw, Mr. Ganesh, who, with his round-looking glasses, is just looking straight at the door with an unamused face.
Julian will make sure to shut the door behind him, and if he's able to lock it, no, he won't. No reason to give off too sinister vibes. And he looks over and he goes, "It was Ganesh. Is it Bate or Bait?"
Ganesh Bhate. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that in some way incorrectly, but I'm rolling with it.
And yeah, as he closes the door and goes, "Mr. Bate, I presume."
Um, he has a thin accent to how he speaks, which I won't try to emulate here. He'll say, "Is there a reason why you are violating my domain?"
I have came here on official business from the order. I have permission to be here.
Do you now? I don't recall granting you an invitation. State your business.
You have been declining protection from the Ordo. We have concerns.
Ah, you must be one of Thistle's boys. Yes, I have declined her offers for security.
So, she would like to know why.
It is fairly simple. I don't feel the need to be locked away in a panic room for information that I possess. Goes against the very founding ideas of our organization.
She will actually nod to that. Stagnation is the worst sin part of our Ordo.
I understand that she is concerned for my safety, but, well, I'm quite confident in my capacity to look after myself, and if I have a matter relating to security, I will approach the Sworn of the Axe regarding the matter. So far, I have not been approached by anyone who I consider a threat, so I have felt no need.
And Julia will nod to that. She's being overly cautious then. But he takes a note to that when he says that because I known Thistle for a good year, for a good many years. If she's concerned that you know something that might be a risk or that you're valuable, she must mean it. It's like I can trust you on this. She does nothing in half measures.
Oh, naturally, she's certainly not entitled to what I know, though.
I agree. You don't need to tell her anything, but if she
I
feels
don't
that
exactly respect her attempts to pull a ticket out of me.
now that I will have to agree with you on that. You don't owe her any answers, but I do feel that if she wants to protect you, now if, I was like, there's no harm in that. But if she wants to use this as a bribe, I have to agree. I'm not okay with that. So, Mr. Bate, what would make you feel more comfortable being under her protection?
Well, it is quite clear to me that Miss Thistle is investigating certain matters relating to the late Mr. Stanton. I assume, well, no. You've already declared that you are here on her behalf. Yes?
Yes.
Well, then I will give you this. While I am not willing to be intimidated or outmaneuvered, I am quite happy to part with the information for a price.
I'll relay the message to her.
Want to make me an intelligence politics roll?
I'm not good at that. Damn it! Yeah, I still have no dots in that. So, I do have an intelligence too.
Okay.
And let's see how much willpower I got.
Spend willpower to offset the dice. What willpower will do is offset the -3 unskilled or untrained dice penalty. So you'll effectively roll your base intelligence score.
This is important. Survey says. Survey says no. All right. I am not aware.
Double twos. And in which case, carry on.
Alrighty. And in his mind, and right now, Billy is just listening to him, see what he has to say.
You understand, Miss Thistle has something that I want. She's a very successful woman within the medical industry. More so the pharmaceutical than the hospital, but I have been looking to open some doors for myself within this very complex, I'm sure you have seen. If Miss Thistle would be willing to open these doors to me and reinforce the idea of Gassiot House as my domain, I would be quite happy to consult with her.
Julian will pull out a phone and basically text that in so many words to Thistle.
Your phone will begin to ring. It is your sire.
He'll answer the phone and goes, "Ma'am."
One second as I just switch over to her real quick. My dear Julian, if you would mind putting me on speaker.
And he'll press the button and place the phone in between him and Mr. Bate. And says,
I assume take a seat at this point.
"Yeah." And says, "You're on speaker, ma'am."
Mr. Barty, a pleasure and an honor once again. I have heard from my esteemed colleague here that you have an offer you wish to make me for the information. I would, to streamline this entire process, however, in exchange for the information you would provide me, I would also desire any information you possess on the late one second. On the late Master Lechner, if you would be so kind. He taps the table somewhat with his thumb. The name draws out a minor reaction from him. A raised eyebrow and a look of distaste. His mouth and his nose scrunch up briefly. I will agree to part of this information. but I'll take on the services of this young man over here. The knowledge you seek is extremely valuable. I'm sure you understand. Much more valuable than that which I'm asking for. And I'm sure you will appreciate me spreading your risk for you. Doors opened. Control provided to me of a Gassiot house in the Baird Medical Center. And security services from your courier. Does that sound acceptable to you, Miss Fizzle? This is acceptable. Thank you for the business.
Okay. Julian will respond. Would you like to call the inn, ma'am?
Oh, pardon, what do you say?
Yes. Would you like the call to be ended, ma'am?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Oh, yes. If he should end the call.
If you would, dear Julian, if you would.
Yes, ma'am. As he hits the close button and puts the phone to his pocket and goes. I said, and he looks over to Mr. Boutet. I was like, how can I be a service to you, sir?
I'm sure you have realized there are sanctified within our domains that are attempting to scour us from them.
There is a mixture of exasperation and a very literal animal growl from Julian's breath as he exhales. It is the best way to put it is it's unnerving because it sounds, even though he looks perfectly human right now, it sounds absolutely unnatural. And he goes, yes, I do.
Excellent. Free Sanctified arrived within this domain 48 hours ago. They have been investigating this area for Ordo activity. They are correct in their suspicions, but they have yet to find anything particularly concrete, and I am not a well-known face within the domain, at least to the Sanctified. I'd prefer it to remain that way. I will provide you with some basic information. I expect you to track them down, kill them, and bring their ashes to me, if you would. I do not wish for this place of study and healing to become tainted by their zealotry and ignorance any more than it already has. I have been fortunate. I hear Harmouth has already been destroyed by them.
You see Julian pull out his phone. It may even look a bit dismissive, but it's more just to keep track of the time. Oh no! Do I need to do this?
Do you actually want to make me an intelligence plus composure check?
Yes.
Intelligence plus empathy, actually.
I think I actually have a
Just
dot.
about him as an individual. Hmm.
If not, I do that. Or, no, I have a no. I have a dot in persuasion. I do not have a dot in empathy. So I roll my 2 dice. And you know what? I'll take a dramatic failure on this. I can either
Okay.
see Julian being more irritated to really read the room really well right now.
You feel as if this man has been far more restrained than he rightfully should have been. And if you'd been less restrained, well, you know that he could have made you do some pretty terrible things to yourself, your sire, and the people you care about. So maybe wise not to piss him off or cross him.
He keeps that in mind. But he still continues the statement. So do I need to do this right now?
Nope, I'll provide you with some basic facts on the matter. I have some notes. I'll compile them into something worth using for you.
That'd be much
Then
appreciated.
you can perhaps save the axe for trouble. And by extension, myself.
He nods, does his best not to do his best not to look so exasperated with the situation, though it's entirely already lost. And then, as he puts up the phone, and he will not just put the phone, he will give him a message of points of contact to get a hold of him. Then he will present his hand. Good to do business with you, Mr. Bate.
Excellent. A pleasure doing business with you, Master Julian. He smiles. His mustache raises ever so slightly in response.
And he kind of looks at him and he says to him, more or less, though, he's not aware that whether or not he's been duped. He knows he's ignorant because that's just his own very nature. But he makes it very clear to him as he shakes his hand. I was like, I may be a medical hammer, but I am still medical, and that means I do have some awareness of the situation.
I'm sure. But in this matter, I would prefer your aspects as a hammer. We are at war, Master Julian. Consider yourself lucky it hasn't already got you wrapped up in its inglorious web. You will be participating in what will merely be considered a skirmish.
Well, I've been learning even skirmishes can be deadly. If not, you'd be doing it. But I also know what I'm good for, so I won't take this out of context.
Violence is an art form, or so they say.
That it is. But I don't think
And I want not to discount it as a method of self-improvement. After all, I would not dare an assault the impaled.
he's
They
surprised.
are quite the innovative. They are quite the innovative cabal.
Yeah. He's surprised that he brings those up because some people don't like bringing up the impaled because some think they're honestly kind of crazy.
Well, what to do works, so
Yeah. Yeah. And he just brings up the impaled are let's just say an exotic bunch.
but useful.
Indeed.
and more importantly, a means of proving my point.
Too right. Too right. We'll get to this as soon as possible, not only for your peace of mind, but the peace of the Ordo. The Sanctified have been throwing their weight too freely as it is. Might as well remind them that they're not as big as they think they are.
They will likely reinvestigate the medical center and the museum. When they do, I will call upon you. You may bring however many friends you wish, the more the merrier. Just don't leave too large of a mess for me to clean up.
I can do that. No, there's another wince as he thinks of his mind. It's like, well, this has got to make the relationship between him, Charlie, and Farthingale a bit awkward. Like, this is straight up something he can't tell them about, and he's a terrible liar. he's a,
Yep.
yeah.
So,
Well,
Mr. Bartet will take his seat once more. That is all, Master Julian. I shall be calling you, I imagine, very shortly.
I will be ready.
Excellent. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. He'll actually do a minor bow to him as he opens the door and closes it gently behind him. And he will begin weaving through the halls back to the outside and looking up to the dreary London sky that he's known for all his life. And sighs out another breath of desperation, despite the fact that he knows not to do it too highly, because it's weird when somebody sighs in weather like this and not a hint of steam comes out.
You exit the building. A surprisingly civil interaction for someone that you were ordered to retrieve, but it appears an alternative was discovered.
Indeed.
A more political solution, a more diplomatic solution. I think as the consequences of this solution are mulled over, I will end the scene. Thank you for playing. Thank you for just watching. Until next time, good night.